Adversarial data collection has moved away from immediate exploitation. State-sponsored groups and industrial spies are now committing intercepted traffic to long-term hoarding. This strategy is defined as store now, decrypt later. It assumes that while the data is unreadable today, advancements in computing will render current encryption obsolete within the data's useful life. This logic ignores transient data like credit card numbers or retail metrics, which lose value before a decryption tool can be built. Instead, collection focuses on military procurement, genomic sequences, proprietary industrial formulas, and telemetry from critical infrastructure. These records possess a secrecy lifespan of decades. The intelligence they contain will remain actionable long after the hardware used to encrypt them has been decommissioned. The store now, decrypt later attack vector is a present-day compromise. It shifts the breach event years ahead of the actual decryption, meaning your security is being undermined today by a machine that does not yet exist. NIST and CISA maintain that data encrypted securely by today's standards is critically vulnerable right now. Cryptographic security is no longer a static shield. It is a timeline equation defined by three overlapping variables. The first variable is the mandated, decades-long secrecy lifespan of the data. This covers the entire period where disclosure would cause material harm. Next is the enterprise migration time. Identifying and replacing vulnerable cryptography across a global network typically requires 10 to 15 years of continuous engineering. The final variable is the arrival horizon for a cryptographically relevant quantum computer, or CRQC. If a CRQC arrives while the secrecy lifespan of your archive data is still active, that data is operationally compromised the moment it is intercepted. Security depends on this overlap. Relying on current unreadability is a governance failure if the information must survive into the quantum era. To understand the specific technical vector, we have to isolate the two distinct layers of a secure communication channel. Modern secure communications rely on two distinct mathematical operations. Most data travels inside the symmetric bulk payload, secured by a secret key negotiated during an asymmetric handshake. This bulk payload remains resilient. Quantum algorithms like Grover's only provide a square root speedup against symmetric cryptography. Doubling the AES key length to 256 bits secures the payload, but failure occurs at the handshake. RSA and elliptic curve cryptography rely on the computational cost of integer factorization. Shor's algorithm identifies these prime factors with exponential speed, collapsing the barrier and exposing the key. If an adversary captures the asymmetric handshake today, they can retroactively extract the symmetric key in the future, rendering the entire encrypted payload plaintext. Quantum computation operates through a logic that classical supercomputers are incapable of executing. We must discard the popular metaphor that a qubit exists as a 0 and a 1 simultaneously. This is an inaccurate description of the physics. A qubit exists through the principle of superposition, a probability distribution over a range of possible values. Entanglement coordinates these distributions across multiple qubits, allowing a quantum computer to link states together in ways classical parallel processing cannot match. Shor's algorithm uses these quantum properties to create interference patterns. It amplifies the probability of the correct prime factors while canceling out the incorrect ones, identifying the solution without a brute force search. Quantum computers do not simply outpace classical machines. They exploit quantum mechanics to bypass the mathematical foundations of asymmetric cryptography. Storing all global internet traffic indefinitely is an enormous economic burden for an adversary. Machine learning has solved this problem by providing a highly efficient triage mechanism for intercepted data. AI models can classify encrypted traffic without reading the payload. They analyze metadata, timing patterns, and protocol fingerprints to determine the nature of the information. This lowers the threshold for collection. Adversaries can now precision target and stockpile high-value ciphertext from sectors that were previously considered of low strategic interest. AI industrializes the harvest now threat, allowing collectors to prioritize your most sensitive records years before a quantum computer comes online. Calculating your exposure requires mapping these vulnerabilities to the actual architecture of a sprawling IT estate. Enterprise data exists in three states: transit, rest, and use. Disk encryption cannot protect stored data if the keys were established via a vulnerable handshake. The primary risk hides within the trust architecture. Anywhere public key cryptography secures an API gateway. Legacy industrial control systems are particularly exposed, relying on vulnerable elliptic curve signatures to validate updates. A quantum algorithm that compromises these signature chains allows an adversary to forge updates or impersonate administrators with absolute authority. Post-quantum vulnerability is a structural decay within the trust mechanisms holding the enterprise network together. The standardized solution is post-quantum cryptography. NIST has finalized the first algorithms for immediate implementation. This new toolkit includes ML-Chem for key establishment and ML-DSA and SLH-DSA for digital signatures. These algorithms are not drop-in replacements for current systems. PQC keys and signatures are significantly larger than those used in RSA or ECC. They carry different latency profiles, requiring a redesign of network protocols to accommodate the increased data overhead. NIST selected diverse mathematical families, using both structured lattices and hash-based functions as a hedge against future developments in quantum machine learning. Transitioning to PQC is an architectural overhaul that will fundamentally test the cryptographic agility of the entire organization. Because of this complexity, the immediate priority is building a data exposure map. This map determines the migration sequence. Prioritization is defined by the intersection of data secrecy lifespan, reliance on asymmetric trust, and supply chain dependencies. Third-party vendors and cloud providers are the most opaque blind spots. You must assess the cryptographic roadmaps of your entire supply chain. The NCSC has established a strict migration timeline, framing this transition as a multi-year investment cycle. This chart outlines the mandatory milestones: full discovery and planning by 2028, and high-priority migration by 2031. The final milestone for sweeping completion across all legacy systems is set for 2035. While the arrival of quantum hardware is uncertain, the multi-year migration lead time is fixed. Waiting for the technology to arrive ensures your encrypted archives will be compromised before your transition is complete.